Hello, boys. How are you? Now, this is the reading time that I told you about before. We're going to read a very nice story. I loved it so much. Now, you got to understand that um, behind every story, like there is a theme, there is a bigger story, a universal story, something that is a concern for everybody. I'll try to make my videos faster because sometimes I find face a difficulty in uploading them because they are a little bit long. I want them to be 15 minutes only. Okay, now the story is talking about unemployment. Now, unemployment means not finding a job. Fine. It's talking about a family in the United States of America in the 1930s, okay, of the last century, the 20th century. So, unemployment. Now, how can you feed your children when you are unemployed? How can you pay the bills if you are unemployed? It's very difficult, especially for the father. Fine, because every father will feel very disappointed when he can't afford to get his kids the life that they are dreaming of. Okay, guys? So the family name is like the Rollets. So we're talking about the Rollets, fine? Now the title is The Day the Rollets Got Their Moxie Back. And Moxie means power. You can say power. Now, I like this selection because it's talking about a very nice story, a very nice theme that concerns everyone. Fine? Okay. Now, I loved it so much because it has lots of nice idioms. Fine, we're going to talk about this. And I told you that we're going to discuss making predictions. Fine, to guess what's going to happen after like a while. Now, when you read the title, The Day the Rollets Got Their Moxie Back, got their power back, what can you predict? Right from the beginning, the title. Okay? The Day the Rollets Got Their Moxie Back. Yeah, excellent. You're right. You're going to predict that a family was facing a difficult situation, but then they, they were able to win. They were able to get over a bad situation. Okay, guys, amazing. Look, sometimes the thing that gets you through hard times comes like a bolt from the blue. And this is our first idiom, which means bad things come suddenly. So, comes like a bolt from the blue means, comes or things come suddenly. That's what my older brother's letter was like, traveling across the country from a work camp in Wyoming. Okay? So, this is the first character. A brother, older brother. It was 1937 and Ricky was helping to build facilities for a new state park as part of President Roosevelt's employment program. Though the program created jobs for young men like Ricky, it hadn't helped our dad find work yet. So I can sense that this is the conflict of the story, the problem. The father doesn't have a job, can't find a job. I imagined Ricky looking up at snow-capped mountains and sparkling skies, breathing in the smell of evergreens as his work crew turned trees into lumber and lumber into buildings. Of course, they use, trees to build houses. It almost made an 11-year weakling like me, a weak person, weakling, want to become a lumberjack. Back in our New York City apartment, the air smelled like meatloaf and cabbage. Dad sat slantwise in his chair by the window, obviously trying to catch the last rays of sunlight rather than turn on a light. Please, I want you to underline this. Obviously trying to catch the last rays of sunlight rather than turn on a light. This is a metaphor. This is an idiom. I want you to think about the meaning of this, please. You can watch this video on YouTube. Fine. I will send you a link on Edmodo. Please write the meaning of this idiom, in the comments. I'll be very happy if lots of you answer this. My older sister Ruth and I lay on the floor comparing the letters Ricky had sent us. Letters at that time, of course. There wasn't WhatsApp. Letters. Physical paper. Fine. Shirley, Ricky says, they had a talent show and he wore a grass skirt and did a hula dance while playing the ukulele. Ruth reported with delight. Now, who can get me a synonym for the word delight? Now, the one that I'm thinking of begins with H. Also, you can write this in the comments. I'll bet he was the cat's pajamas, a costume. It'd be swell to have our own talent show. Now, it'd be swell, another idiom, another saying, which means it would be really great to have our own talent show, I replied. Should I start sewing grass skirts? Mom asked from the kitchen, which was just the corner where someone had plopped down a stove next to a sink and an ice box. Now, does this show that the kitchen is big or teeny tiny? You can write an answer to this, of course. Now come set the table. Dinner's almost ready. So we have like the characters. We have the older brother, we have Ricky, we have the mother, Ruth, we have the father, right? So apparently a father and a mother, 2 daughters, 1 son. Okay, Dad stayed where he was, sullen and spent. Sullen means sad, and spent means absent-minded. He was thinking about other things. Any jobs in the paper? Mom asked, her voice rich with sympathy. What a good mother and what a good wife, right? Her voice was rich with sympathy. Dad shook his head. No. He had worked as an artist in the theater for years, but most productions were still strapped for cash. Dad sketched posters for shows that did get the green light. If you get a green light to do something, you are allowed to do something. Another idiom, just to keep his skills sharp. He even designed posters for Rollets, Fullies, with Ruth and me depicted in watercolor costumes. For dinner, now, something is going to happen that is frequent in my house. My children always complain about food, healthy food, they want burgers or something like that. For dinner, Mom served a baked loaf of whatever ingredients she had that worked well together. From the reddish color, I could assume, I could guess, I could suppose that she had snuck in beats. Snuck is the past form of sneak. Okay? I guarantee you like these beats, she said, reading my frown. If you have a frown on your face, are you happy or are you sad? Tell me, please. It's meatloaf, the meatless meat loaf. They are being sarcastic, right? Mocking what their mother, had prepared, the meal that their mother had prepared. She sang as she served up slices. Ruth fidgeted in her seat, still excited about the talent show. Though calm on the outside, inside, I was all a twitter too. Now, I wanted to use synonyms, antonyms strategy to find the meaning of the word a twitter. Great. Over the next week, Ruth and I practiced our Hawaiian dance routine. Our parents worried about heating bills as cold weather settled in. It's a poor family with a jobless father. Of course, they are going to think a lot about the bills that they're going to pay. One Saturday, my father decided to grin and bear it. This is a very nice idiom. If you decide to grin and bear it, this means that you are going to forget about a problem and have an enjoyable life. An enjoyable time. An enjoyable time for a short, period of time. Okay. One Saturday, my father decided to grin and bear it and grab some hot coffee at the local soup kitchen, where he hoped to hear about available jobs. This is what he's thinking about all the time now. Jobs. Ruth and I begged to go along. Since the kitchen offered donuts and hot chocolate on weekends, he agreed. Now they go to the, diner, restaurant, kitchen. Most everyone in line was bundled up against the cold. It was very cold. Many of us had to rely on 2 or 3 threadbare layers. Now, 2 or 3 threadbare layers. Threadbare, if your clothes are threadbare, this means they are very, very, very old, now they are worn out, old and worn out, and cannot protect you from that cold. Okay? Like many other men, Dad bowed his head as if in shame. Boys, the most thing that disappoints a father, as I told you before, is when he can't afford a good life for his children. And we have this case here. The line moved slowly. Bored, Ruth began practicing her dance steps. I sang an upbeat tune to give her some music. Around us, downturned hats lifted to reveal frowns becoming smiles. Good. Now the two sisters were in a queue, in a row, waiting for the donuts and the coffee. They got bored and they decided to dance a little and sing a little bit. Soon, so they changed the frown on people's faces to smiles. Now this is very dangerous. This sentence tells you that most of the society was unhappy. Frowns on people's faces. Soon, folks began clapping along. Egged on by the supportive response, Ruth twirled and swayed like there was no tomorrow. Now, egged on means encouraged by the supportive response. She began to sing and sway without thinking, like there was no tomorrow. It is an idiom that means quickly, to respond quickly and without thinking. Those girls sure have Moxie, someone shouted. Oh, what's wrong, girls? They've got heart, all right. They are brave, offered another. Why, they ought to be in pictures. Ought to be means ought to be, should be in pictures, which means they must appear on TV, in the movies, etc. With performances like that, I'd nominate them for an Academy Award, a fourth person said, or a woman called out. Those are my girls, Dad declared, his head held high. He was very proud that his daughters did something special that got the attention of all people. Now it is a moment of relief for him. With all the sad, circumstances, the miserable life that he's having for not having a job, now he is very proud and he held his head up. Those are my girls. Those are my girls, Dad declared, his head held high. Everyone burst into applause. Hey. For those short moments, the past didn't matter and the future blossomed ahead of us. The future became promising. We can guarantee that the future will be very beautiful. Okay? And the future blossomed ahead of us like a beautiful flower. I love this simile. Don't you love it too? Good. I couldn't wait to write Ricky and tell him the news. Wow, I love this story. Did you love it? Okay, so here, look. Now, we are going to talk about making predictions, which means one event, one hint that the author, gets in the story can make you guess about something that's going to happen. Okay? Now, if you want to understand the story in the best ways out there, you have to make predictions. You have to understand the characters, analyze the characters, and compare and contrast characters. Okay. Now, what genre are we reading? Which means what type? Genre means type. What type of literature? We are talking about historical fiction. Fiction, like stories, like non-real stories, but depicting history, talking about history, something that happened in history. Okay? Of course, in historical fiction, you're going to find that the story is talking about true events. Okay, something that happened in life. Fine. Here, they are talking about something famous that happened in America, the United States of America. It happened in 1928, which they call the Great Depression. It was a time like when the economy there collapsed. Okay, everybody lost his money, every businesses closed, shops closed, and people had a tough time. Okay, so this story is talking about this, which is a true event that happened in history. Okay, and another feature of historical fiction is that like a story like this includes people that speak with their own dialect. Dialect means accent. Okay, for example, the West Coast in America they're going to have to speak in a particular way. Another, far away regions in America will speak in a different way. Fine. Okay. And well, we spoke about idioms while we were reading. A bolt from the blue, which means suddenly. Okay, and the story had lovely, beautiful idioms that you're going to enjoy. Fine. Now I want you to watch this video carefully, and when you finish it, I want you to go back to the story and read it and enjoy it. Fine. And if you have any questions, please write it to me. Okay, boys? Now, homework. I want you to find 3 idioms in the story and write them on a sheet of paper and get the help of Uncle Google or a dictionary and understand first, then write the answers. And write the answers in your own words, in your own way. So this is about idiom. Okay, now question 2 as a homework is, what is the conflict of the story? This is question 2. And question 3, what is the point of view used in this story? Is it first person, second person, third person? Thank you very much for your time. I enjoyed my time with you. I wish that you loved the video, and I will see you soon. Bye bye.